Hello wrestling fans, the Wrestling Wizard here and welcome to another video. Now I know what you're thinking, it's a little bit early to be making predictions for this year's WrestleMania, mainly because not all matches have been confirmed. However, let's face it, the matches that have been confirmed for 100% are the juicy ones, are the tasty ones, the ones that as WWE fans we are invested in. So I'm going to make predictions for those, and maybe in another video I'll follow up and fill in the gaps with the matches that have been added. Now before we get into the juicy stuff, as always, it'd be very much appreciated if you could like the video, share the video, and even better, subscribe if you're new. Now in no particular order, let's kick things off with the triple threat match for the United States Championship between Logan Paul, Randy Orton, and a freshly added Kevin Owens. I'm a bit surprised by that. I thought they were going to go for a singles match between Logan and Randy, but let's face it, Kevin Owens has had some serious beef with Logan Paul over the last few months, so it kind of makes sense to add him. And after all, I don't think outside of this they had any plans for Kevin Owens, so chuck him in the triple threat match. The match itself is going to be fire. There's going to be viral moments left, right and centre. You can guarantee that Logan Paul is going to use the brass knucks at some point, and I wouldn't be surprised if he does that to get the victory. I'm calling it Logan Paul retains. Moving on swiftly to a personal matchup that I'm super invested in. Jimmy Uso versus Jey Uso. Heel versus face. It doesn't get any more personal than this. And if you look at this matchup from a logic perspective, Jimmy is essentially jealous of Jey's success. And Jimmy believes he's the superior Uso because he's the older Uso, the older brother, the older twin, and he is the one in charge. But what if Jey proves that he is the better performer? The better Uso gets the victory over Jimmy, and Jimmy actually respects that. They hug it out, and we actually get the Usos back on the same page. What I really like about that is it's an interesting dynamic heading into the Cody Rhodes Roman Reigns match. If you've got Jey and Jimmy now on the same page, what does that mean for the main event matchup of WrestleMania? Will all the bloodline turn on Roman Reigns? I know it sounds far-fetched, but Jimmy versus Jey needs to be settled at WrestleMania, full stop for me. I don't want to see a battle of 3 matches, the best of 3, the best of 5, and then it gets settled in a Hell in a Cell. I don't want to see that. I want to see it clear cut, to the point, keep it simple. But what do you think? Moving on to LA Knight versus AJ Styles. This has been a mega personal rivalry. This has had a lot of television time as of late, and I did think that they were going to have bigger plans for LA Knight in regards to maybe a title shot at WrestleMania. I thought a while back they were going to go with LA Knight versus Logan Paul for the United States Championship, but maybe in the future we're going to get that matchup, just not now. And AJ Styles, still in his late 40s, is killing it. I'm still invested in AJ Styles. He's in the shape of his life, and it's been a pretty good feud. I think LA Knight is going to get the victory. It makes sense to put over LA Knight in this context. Now I'm going to skip past it really quickly because the participants haven't been confirmed on time of recording this video. But of course you've got the 6-pack ladder challenge for the undisputed WWE Tag Team Championship. Of course the Judgment Day hold that. But I'm going to call an early prediction, and I'd love to see, just purely from a fairy tale perspective, R-Truth and The Miz getting the victory. How big a pop would R-Truth get? Moving on to Gunther versus Sami Zayn for the Intercontinental Championship. I did feel like it should have been Chad Gable versus Gunther on the grandest stage of them all, and Chad finally gets his win. That would have been fairy tale like. However, I'm not massively against Sami Zayn being in Chad Gable's place, or at least earning that right to be there, because Sami Zayn is still immensely popular. And let's not forget, just over a year ago, we were rooting him on to dethrone Roman Reigns at Elimination Chamber. And maybe, just maybe, the higher-ups in WWE have gone, here, get the IC title at Mania off Gunther and run with it. And to be honest with you, I wouldn't be against that. Sami Zayn would be a popular champion. It also gives other competitors a legitimate chance in winning the title as well. With Gunther holding that title for God knows how long, I feel like that reign had to come to a natural end at some point. And then you can move Gunther into the World Heavyweight title scene anyway. That's not too premature. He's a ready-made star in my eyes. But I'm going with a title change and Sami Zayn the new Intercontinental Champion. Next up, we're going to turn our attention to the women's division and kick things off with the Women's World Championship match between Rhea Ripley and Becky Lynch. Mammy versus the man. Many fans feel that somebody else should be in the place of Becky Lynch. However, I think this match is going to deliver, much like Rhea Ripley versus Charlotte did last year. They arguably stole the show on night one of WrestleMania, and I think this match will do the same. I think in terms of outcome, in terms of victor, it's going to be Rhea Ripley. The Eradicator is going to retain. I feel it'd be the right move, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see a double turn. That Rhea Ripley turns to the babyface side. She's pretty much all but a babyface anyway. Fans love her. She's like that cool heel that you want to cheer. And Becky Lynch would benefit from a heel turn. And she can work alongside many top talent in regards to the babyface scene. Coming out of WrestleMania, it just makes sense for her to have a chip on her shoulder because she's been outshone by a bigger weapon in Rhea Ripley. Next up in the women's scene, we've got a juicy matchup between Iyo Sky and Bayley for the WWE Women's Championship. And at this moment in time, it kind of feels like a feud between Bayley and Dakota Kai. If you didn't know better, and you didn't know how this storyline had played out through the last, coming up to, couple of years now in this Damage Control arc, that you'd think that Bayley and Dakota Kai are having a matchup at WrestleMania. Iyo Sky sort of feels like she's in the background and she is the champ. She's the WWE Women's Champion, has been for some time. But the matchup itself will deliver. There's going to be some dirty shenanigans, you can see it. But ultimately, I think it would be the right call for Bayley to win, become the WWE Women's Champion. And then out of WrestleMania, you can have Dakota Kai versus Bayley, which I'd be a bit more invested in as a fan, to be honest with you. I think they could have held off on the Dakota Kai turn, maybe had it a little bit closer to WrestleMania or even at WrestleMania. But I understand if you're going with Bayley, then you want to do it before. Bayley to win, mainly because I'm a massive Bayley fan. Now we move on to the main event scene. And of course, we gotta start with the World Heavyweight Championship match between Seth Rollins and Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre, in my opinion, as a heel, has been a breath of fresh air. He has killed it. He is being brutal in the mockery of CM Punk. And bear in mind, this matchup initially was supposed to be Seth freaking Rollins versus CM Punk. I think at the back end of this, Drew McIntyre will win. He will dethrone Seth Rollins. And then when he's ready down the line, it could be in the lead up to, say, SummerSlam, we'll get CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre, with CM Punk being the face chasing Drew McIntyre. And that would be a personal rivalry that they can drag out for months on end. I feel like that's the direction they're going in. And also I feel like Drew McIntyre deserves to win a major championship in front of actual people at WrestleMania. He deserves it. It would be a huge shock if Seth Rollins retained, in my opinion. But just imagine the dynamic of Seth Rollins losing, Drew McIntyre is the new champ. What does that do for Seth Rollins in regards to the matchup between Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns? Does he attack Cody in a jealous rage that he feels he should be the man to get that moment? We'll have to wait and see. And of course, we can't forget about the mega money match where Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins, quite randomly, have agreed to take on The Rock and Roman Reigns. And I say randomly, let's not forget Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins, not that long ago, were in a bitter rivalry. And now Seth Rollins is willing to put his back, literally, on the line alongside Cody Rhodes to defend Cody Rhodes against the Bloodline. When he's got a matchup against Drew McIntyre, from a logic standpoint, why would Seth Rollins agree to that when he's taking on the beast in Drew? And he's just going to be knackered, isn't he, at the end of the tag team match? But we'll have to wait and see how these dynamics play out. In terms of this matchup, I think it's pretty obvious the way they keep talking about this Bloodline angle, this Bloodline stipulation. I do believe that The Rock and Roman Reigns are going to beat Cody and Seth, because then you can involve the Bloodline in the matchup. Let's face it, the Bloodline has been the main play in this whole Cody Rhodes finishing his story situation. so it would only make sense for them to be involved in the main event. However, they might swerve us. Seth and Cody might get the victory, albeit I can't see it happening. So that brings us on to the main event of WrestleMania XL. Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes for the undisputed WWE Universal Championship. This is going to be fire. I am going to do a completely separate video going into the finer details of this match, sharing all my wildest theories. I have so many in my head at the moment. There's so many twists and turns. At this point, it kind of feels like we're going to get Rock versus Cody. I know we're not. After this week's episode of SmackDown, on time of recording this video, The Rock absolutely destroyed Cody Rhodes. We need a strong promo from Roman. We need Roman to take center stage because he is the top dog in all of this as well. He kind of feels in the shadow of The Rock, but maybe that's the way they want to book things. Maybe that's the way they want to make you feel as a WWE fan heading into this match. But cut all the waffle out, I'm going to get to the point. I think two outcomes should happen at the end of this. I do believe this is the right time for Cody Rhodes to finish his story. I don't know how they're going to get there. Is The Rock legitimately alongside Roman or not? He still is opposing Cody Rhodes, but it just doesn't work out the way he wanted to, and then Roman blames him for costing him, and that sets up Rock and Roman. And talking of Rock and Roman, that is my second outcome I want to see. Some clear direction in regards to The Rock and Roman having a one-on-one matchup down the line. I wouldn't be surprised if that is the direction WWE go in. Cody deserves this moment. You can't carry on with this story. You really can't. What's he going to do? Win the Royal Rumble for a third time next year and get another shot and Roman holds the title for another year? I can't see it happening. I believe this is the time when Roman Reigns' reign comes to an end. I'm just not quite sure how they get there, and that is what is so exciting. Maybe Roman retains. That would be absolutely insane. What do you think? Get down in the comment section. Share your thoughts and opinions, not just for this match, but for all the matches previous as well. As I said, we're going to do a separate video on the Roman Reigns Cody Rhodes matchup because it's just far too juicy. Thank you so much for watching the video. If you lasted this long to the end, I really appreciate it. And as always, it'd be very much appreciated if you could like the video, share the video, and even better, subscribe if you're new, and we'll catch you in the next one.